Well, I'm out here planting trees today. Um, this year I'm going to be planting hybrid willows and quaking aspens along with a few spruce. I've never planted the aspen or the hybrid willow, so this is the first year trying those out. But basically, when you plant trees, you gotta use tubes. Otherwise, I mean, maybe if you plant like 100 to or a couple hundred or 1,000, then you could get away with not tubing them. But I'm putting in, I think I bought 25 aspen and 40 willows, so not too many. And these tubes are amazing. They'll last at least 5 to 10 years. I still got ones from about 5 years ago, and none of them have really broken apart yet. I use conduit for the staking, 1/2 inch, and these are retractable zip ties. So in the future, you can take them off and prune up your tree. So right here's the aspen tree. Let me go get you a closer look. Just a little 2.5 footer probably, but in the future it's going to grow and it's going to have all these little side shoots, so you're going to have to take these tubes off and prune them up. And you want to prune them up to a single stem every year until they get out of the tube. Then you can let them branch out. Plus the tubes will protect the deer from rubbing them when they get bigger, and they'll eventually, you don't even have to take the tube off because you won't be able to when the tree gets big. The tree will just bust the tube right open. There's like a little serrated edge going up and down the whole tube in a spot that it's supposed to break when the tree gets big enough. I got a few of them that are starting to do that now. I got one there and one there. I'm just filling in these gaps because what we're limited on here is cover. The neighbors have a ton of cover, but we're just on the edge of it. I'm trying to continue building this cover out further and further to hopefully get some bedding here. And this isn't really a bedding area. This is right next to one of our food plots, but down there in the swamp, I'll show you, I got tubes everywhere. That area I'm trying to convert to bedding. It's just a lot of buckthorn, and it's all been dying off because it's actually too wet for the buckthorn. But these willows, supposedly they grow up to 12 feet a year. And I got a whole bunch of the hybrid poplars I'll show you in a little bit too, that they grow up to 6 to 8 feet a year, and I got a lot of them that are doing really good like that too. So I'll take you around and show you what some of the trees look like. Normally when I start, I just brush away all this thatch layer. And this ground is super loose and black, as you can tell, so it only takes about probably like 30 seconds to a minute to dig a hole in this stuff. It's pretty easy working ground, which is nice. Done. Alright, so you can see these are just cuttings. I don't know if you can see that or not. They just grew these willows from cuttings. I guess willows are really easy to grow from cuttings. Anyways, see, that's about how deep the hole is. You don't want to bury the tree too deep. You also don't want to leave it up too high, so you just got to make sure you're right about where the first roots start. These are easy because you can see right about there is where I got to bury it to. Pack it in good. And that's pretty much done. Let's get a little more of this topsoil because things will settle over time. You don't want your roots exposed, so it is probably better to plant them a little bit deep because the ground will settle. I'm wearing these gloves because this black dirt, man, it just stains your hands for a couple days at a time when you do this. And then now for the stake. It's really nice with this loose ground. I just push these in. You don't even need to use a hammer. back in. And then basically just slip it right over and you're done. So I can plant one tree in probably, I don't know, a couple minutes. I usually dig like 6 to 8 holes, plant the trees, and then tube them all. But yeah, I'll go show you some results now. But yeah, that's how you do it. You can see all these trees we got. Looking good. So right here I'm going to be putting in a willow. You can see this buckthorn is alive. That one is somewhat alive. You can see the top? That one's dead. This one's pretty much dead too, because that big one back there is dead. And all these elm trees in here are dead too, because literally it would have been like 2 or 3 years ago in the spring, this time of year, there was like almost knee-deep water covering everything down here. And buckthorn can handle water, but it can't handle that much. And it was down here for a couple weeks and killed off a lot of the buckthorn that was coming in. So now you can see all my tubes, all these hybrid willows and aspen, and I got a bunch of hybrid poplars over there. I'll show you in a little bit. Those are all really suited to growing in water. I haven't had any of them die down here, besides from the mice burrowing in the wintertime and making nests at the bottom of the tubes. That's the only thing that's killed these trees. The mice eat around the base of the tree, and usually the tree regrows anyways, but I haven't had any of these trees die down here, so this is looking really good. Even if they tip over, you know, 10, 15 years from now, or maybe more, that's fine too, because that's going to create side cover, and they're probably going to survive as wet as what it is down here. So we'll see. I'll show you planting this last tree, and then I'll take you around and show you some of the results. So right here are some of the ones we planted multiple years ago now. You can see they're probably close to 20 feet. Almost as big as the tube at the top, and starting to bust through the tube at the bottom here. So these ones are doing really good. We got 3 really nice ones here. I think we had one in the middle here that died from the mice. Another one right here. Another 20-footer, I would say. Here's one I just planted. But here's another one. This one I think was planted probably, looks like 1, 2 or 3 years ago now. This is one of the hybrid poplars right here. See, they're starting to bud out. I can't focus it. Here's a white cedar. Got to cage all these, otherwise the deer will get them, that's for sure. But yeah, down here, here's another nice. This is one I just planted, so there's nothing coming out. But yeah, here's another really nice hybrid poplar here. I believe this one was also put in 2 years ago. But for some reason, this one's just taken off a lot better. That's what I have noticed. Some of these, they all grow, but some of them really, really take off good. I don't know if it's just because I planted it a little differently, like packed the soil in better, or somehow maybe had a better root system or something. Somehow it took off faster, because you can see normally when I plant them they're about this high, 3 to 4 foot tall. These are 5-foot tubes. You can see it shot up all the way to there, right where the top, right where the end of my finger is, the first year, and then took off. So this is only a 2-year-old, well, it was planted 2 years ago. And here's another good example. Look at how big that one is. And this one is a couple feet shorter and not nearly as big at the top here. So for some reason this one's just taking off faster. But you can see it's still growing. But yeah, they're really looking good. Like I said, I haven't had any of them die on me, other than from the mice chewing around the bottom of them. So this right here, this is a hybrid poplar I put in, I think it would have been like 3 springs ago. So it was about this tall when it was planted, 3 to 4 foot. And it's gone through 3 growing seasons and in that course of time, it's basically as big as the tube at the bottom. I can't even fit my hand around it at the top. It's probably close to 20 foot, if not a little bit over. This is one of the biggest ones. There's a lot of other decent sized ones, but this is probably, there's a big one here and there's a few other ones that are about this size, but yeah, it's just amazing how fast these things really grow. I'm hoping the willows are supposed to grow actually faster, the ones I bought this year, but these obviously grow good too. And both these survive really good in wet conditions. This is pretty wet ground right here too, even though it doesn't really look like it with all this grass here, but this is pretty low. And yeah, it's pretty awesome to see all these, how fast these grow. It's just kind of a satisfying thing to do, and just, you know, over the course of years you can really change the landscape by planting these trees. And so that's the one I was standing by. Here's another pretty good sized one here. Two really nice ones there. A lot of this up here is all just cedars and pines, because it goes up a little bit and it's a little drier ground up there. Plus I wanted some thermal cover for nighttime bedding during the winter time. But I got a few basswoods that I dug up in here. That's what these trees are. They're doing all right. Then over there I got a few more hybrid poplars and stuff. Here's a hybrid poplar right here that was planted last year. You can see it's not doing the best. It's probably, yeah, it looks like it was this high. So it didn't grow. That's what I said, it's weird. Some of them, when you put them in, they'll get like probably close to 8 to 10 feet the first year. Other ones just come out of the tube a little bit. I'm expecting this one this year to get at least, you know, close to 8 feet high. Year after that, it'll be like 10 to 12 foot high. But some of these ones, like that one and the one I was standing by, they took off and they were over 10 foot the first year. So it's just probably just having to do with, I must have planted this one a little bit wrong. Maybe I was too shallow or too deep or something when I planted it, or didn't pack in the dirt as good. I'm not sure. But as you can see, that it's still alive and it's going to do good. Yeah. You can see I got some white cedars in here. They're all caged off. And this is where I got some of the, this is some of the first ones I planted. You can see that thing's probably close to 20. All those ones are ones from last year and this year. All these tubes you can see. And here's an example. This was planted 1 year ago, and this is how tall it is. You can see down in the tube here, right about here. The top of the stake is how tall the tree was. So it grew about a good 4 to 5 feet the first year. This year I'm expecting this tree to probably be definitely over 10 foot, probably closer to 12. It'll put on probably at least another 5 to 6 feet this year. Here's one I planted this year. This is another one from last year. Look at that. First year of growth, it's close to 10 foot. That one's a little bit shorter from last year. And I got all these trees up here, so I'm just trying to fill this swamp in with more trees and less grass. You know, hopefully just getting this to thicken up and possibly hold some does, offering more room for the bucks further back in the better bedding areas. But yeah, you can see it's a lot of trees, just trying to fill it all in. You know, definitely 5 to 10 years from now, it's going to be a lot of really big trees in here. They'll all be at least the size of the tubes, if not quite a bit larger, because some of them are already busting through. But all these are just from last year and this year, so that's why none of them are really sticking out of the tubes. So it seems like, you know, an average growth for 1 year is close to 7 or 8 feet high. This one's probably close to 9 over here. So pretty cool. I love growing trees, as you can tell. I mean, probably 8.5. But yeah, like here's dead buckthorn. A lot of this buckthorn, you can see the stuff that's greening up. That's all still alive, but all the brown stuff that's not greening up, like this one here, it's all dead from that big flood. It kind of sucked that it killed off all our brush. You can see some of them are actually tipping over now. Yeah, just thanks for watching, guys. My food My food plot videos, the corn and beans, those won't be out until probably June at the earliest. I want to include results in those videos, but yeah, thanks for watching.